A group of people traveled back in time 100 million years, but one of them found himself stuck inside a tree. Will he be able to get out? The story takes us to West Argentina, where a couple of archaeologists descend a mountain to find the entrance to an ancient cave. Due to a torn cable, a girl archaeologist falls and ends up right at the entrance to the secret cave, where she discovers cave paintings and dinosaur remains. After these events, an elite search and rescue team is summoned to a U.S. military research center to participate in a special rescue mission, the details of which Professor Renault tells the fighters. More than 60 years ago, he was working on a secret project called the Rainbow Project, which made short-term time travel possible. Wishing to improve his project, Professor Renault sent a group of scientists led by his older brother Eric back 100 million years. But the system that was supposed to bring the team back didn't work, and all participants of the scientific experiment remained imprisoned in the prehistoric world. In Argentina, archaeologists discovered a message from the professor's brother among the drawings, giving hope that the expedition team may still be alive and in need of rescue. Professor Renault wants to correct a mistake made 60 years ago and bring the scientists back, enlisting the help of a specially trained squad of fighters. Despite the dangers of the mission, the soldiers agree to go with Professor Renault back 100 million years. Armed and instructed on how to survive in a prehistoric world, the Marines, led by the professor, pass through a time portal. The rescue team finds themselves in the middle of the jungle that will become Argentina in the future. The squad leader does a roll call to ensure that all the men have successfully navigated the time jump. One of the Marines is unlucky, teleporting back in time. He gets permanently stuck in the bark of a tree. The commander decides to leave the soldier behind and leads his team further through the jungle. While exploring the area, they notice a mountain where cave paintings have been found. Along the way, the team encounters one of the locals, a herbivorous dinosaur. Fearing an attack, the fighters point their weapons at the animal, but the professor reassures them that this dinosaur species poses no danger to humans. The rescue squad arrives at a body of water, where an unknown plant shoots a white liquid directly into the face of one of the fighters. His eyes begin to bleed, and he rushes into the water in a panic to wash the toxic liquid off himself. His comrades rush after him to pull him out of the water. The squad commander spots a giant reptile in the pond, to which his men voluntarily swim for a snack. The commander orders them to get out of the water immediately, leaving their wounded comrade behind. The surviving part of the team goes on, approaching the mountain where the scientists left messages. The closer they get, the clearer the sounds of predators waiting for them. One of the men stops, terrified, telling the commander that he saw something ahead. The lieutenant walks forward and assures the fighters that the path is clear. At that exact moment, a dinosaur grabs him and carries him like prey deep into the jungle. Left without a commander, the team shoots back at the predators and tries to think of a further action plan. But there are too many dinosaurs, and they are too fast, so they drag the Marines off one by one. Not wanting to become another victim of the ancient predatory animal, one of the fighters decides to run forward to hide in a cave canyon. The rest of the team follows his example. Not all of the soldiers succeed in reaching their goal. One stumbles on a tree root and falls to the ground. The dinosaur quickly catches up with his new prey and wounds him. Suddenly, men surround the predator from different sides and set it on makeshift spears, after which the soldiers finish it with a machine gun burst. Because of his age, Professor Renault cannot keep up with the soldiers and stops in the middle of the jungle to catch his breath. Another ancient predator tracks down the man and is about to attack him, but a stranger saves him by stabbing the dinosaur with her spear. The feral girl also lunges at the professor until he calls her by name. The stranger turns out to be Rude, one of the expedition team members and Professor Renault's lover from the past. Rude leads the professor to a cave, where he meets his old friends and older brother. Unlike Renault, the expeditionary team has not aged much, for, in their world, it has only been 6 years since the failed experiment. The professor tells the team they need to find where they got here to get back home safely. The team struggles to drag their dinosaur-wounded comrade home, but the girl expediter tells the fighters that he will die from the infection sooner or later anyway. Hearing this, the wounded Marine orders his comrades to abandon him and move on. The team sleeps in a cave and shares stories of what has happened to them over the years. Eric has begun dating his expedition partner Betty, and Rude has never been able to get over her feelings for Reno. The professor told his old friend Bud about his family and sadly informed the man that his wife had died of cancer without waiting for her husband. On the other hand, Bud's son grew up to be a bully, angry at the world because of his father's absence. The professor blames himself for what happened. But Eric calms his brother down and says that the device that was supposed to bring the team back was damaged due to the concussion, and it's not his fault. At dawn, the team sets off on their way. The sun has already risen above the horizon, which means that the jungle's inhabitants are about to wake up. Suddenly the team is attacked by a flying pterosaur, and drags one of the soldiers into the sky. The soldier tries to save his comrade and throws a grenade at the predator, but that only worsens things. Somewhere in the jungle wakes up the most dangerous inhabitant of the ancient world, the Tyrannosaurus, to which the expeditionary gave the nickname Big Red. Yet the team manages to kill the pterosaur and free the fighter from its claws. Together they left nearly exhausted to make it to the device that would bring them home. Professor Reno launches a time portal but is in no hurry to go through it. To close the portal, someone must stay in the prehistoric world. Since Reno is the only one who knows how to operate the time travel device, he informs his brother that he has decided to stay in the distant past. He went on the mission with everyone else, knowing he was not destined to return. With pain in his voice, Eric promises to find a way to return for his brother and steps into the portal with the others. Once the entire team dissolves into a blue stream of energy, the professor proceeds to set up the device to close the portal. But he doesn't have time to do anything because of Big Red, who has come upon the scent of humans and is ready to kill the uninvited guests. Meanwhile, the team returns to the 21st century, where their journey took only a second of time. Happy, they hug and congratulate each other until they notice something else coming through the portal. The unknown turns out to be an enraged Big Red, who destroys the portal. The military shoots the dinosaur, trying to stop it, but because of its thick skin, it cannot feel the bullets. After killing several members of the science center and the military, Big Red bursts into the city. The surviving military men explain to the general that the dinosaur is confused and will try to find a place to hide, destroying everything and everyone in its path. The general takes the Air Force into the sky to destroy the ancient monster. The military tries unsuccessfully to find the dinosaur in the night city. The situation is complicated because dinosaurs are cold-blooded animals and cannot be tracked by heat sensors. The helicopter with the military drops below to track the predator on its own. The Tyrannosaurus seizes the moment and jumps onto the helicopter from the darkness, destroying it with the soldiers inside. Scientists tell the soldiers that the Big Red is intelligent and different from other dinosaurs. When they were in the prehistoric world, the predator liked to lure its victims into caves and wait until one of them came out, right into its mouth. The scientists decide to separate themselves from the troops and trap the Big Red on their own. By diverting its attention to themselves, they plan to lead the dinosaur into the tunnel, where the aviation can launch missiles at it. In this way, they can avoid civilian casualties. The general sends troops to guard the tunnel exit while the team of scientists plays deadly catch-up with the Tyrannosaurus. They run inside the tunnel but notice Big Red has stopped following them. He outsmarts the group and goes around the tunnel from the other side, where the soldiers are waiting for him. The predator effortlessly tramples the military equipment and turns its attention to the trapped scientists. As the Tyrannosaurus is about to attack the boys, an old-style military armored car blocks his path. Soldiers get out and start shooting at the predator, diverting his attention. The armored car drives deep into the city, driving the predator away from the tunnel. As the machinery drives away, the company notices a young Professor Reno dressed in an old military uniform. He tells his friends that Reno from the future went back 60 years, right before the portal closed, and they went on a scientific expedition to a prehistoric world. Reno from the future was able to fix the rainbow device and told his young self about what happened to him and his friends in the future. Big Red mortally wounded the old professor before entering the portal, so he entrusted his young self with the mission to save his friends in the 21st century. Young Reno does manage to get to the future. Now, he has to help his friends send Big Red back 100 million years. The Tyrannosaurus soon returns to the tunnel, and Eric whistles to get his attention. That doesn't work, and the guy decides to give the predator another chase to lead the animal straight to the portal. Meanwhile, the general decides to shoot the dinosaur to kill it as soon as it reaches the tunnel. A soldier from the rescue team tries to dissuade the man from this idea, as there are still scientists in the tunnel. The general has no other choice. The government can't block off all the tunnels in the city, and the raptor must be destroyed before it destroys all the buildings around it. Eric is lured to the Big Red tunnel, and at that exact moment, Professor Reno activates the portal. Noticing a blue glow from the air, the general recalls his order. The monster dissolves into the portal and eventually returns to his world. The soldiers and scientists rejoice and congratulate each other. After everything, Reno reopens the portal and offers to take his friends back 60 years so they can live out the rest of their lives in their own time. Bud happily agrees to return to his wife and son to spend every missed moment with his loved ones. Rude wants to grow old with Reno, so he also wants to return in time. But someone has to stay in the modern world to close the portal. Eric and Betty decide to stay in the 21st century and meet up with their friends again after 60 years. The boys say goodbye and dissolve into the portal, which Eric closes. Taking Betty by the hand, they walk deep into the tunnel toward their new future.